Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Crazy situation and I need help badly. My wife had an affair with my best friend which produced a child. She knew this and had me believing for the last 6 years the child was mine. After we split, she told me. I didn't believe it and got a paternity test. Sure enough, the child isn't mine. Now we're about to go through a divorce and she wants to take my name off the birth certificate. I know that since my name is listed as her father, that is as legal as an adoption paper. I have parental rights to the child and I am intending to fight. For 6 years I was her father. I was at her birth, I cut the cord. When I get my son, which is mine, I get my daughter too. Now my ex wants me to strike my name off her birth certificate and put my ex-friend's name on it. We have been separated for over 1.5 years. And I now live with a girl I met 6 months ago. My girlfriend is unsure of this situation and I can't blame her. She thinks I'm fighting a battle I can't win. And I'm wondering if she's right. Can I win this? That's very jacked up. I'm sorry. What does your attorney think and how will they be assisting you? For real, that is a shit situation and I'm sorry you're going through that. Seems like your attorney will be able to answer this question best, but I would think any judge would have some sympathy in this situation. One would think, at least. Man, I thought my ex was crazy. You should be fine, just get a good female attorney and do everything by the book legally. Your ex doesn't care about legal stuff, but you do and so does the system. Let her dig her own hole. You got this. You are not a bio dad. But you are correct, you have rights if you want them. Look up parentage by Stoppel. The theory is usually used to keep non-bio dads on the hook for child support upon learning that the kid isn't theirs. You acted as dad, the child has bonded with you as dad, therefore you are dad and thusly financially responsible for child. But it can be used the other way too, essentially not letting mom freeze you out, because now she is stopped from cutting you out because she let you develop the relationship, etc. You want the rights, and the obligations, of being a dad, you can get them. Be aware though, in for a penny, in for a pound. The birth certificate is a presumption of fatherhood, but not a declaration. Once you are declared dad, you are then father for all purposes, owing support and having the responsibility of being a parent. Go get 'em. Also, it depends on jurisdiction, so check with your local attorney. It's a hell of an argument and is widely used. Make sure you hire a good, competent female attorney. This will be an edge for you if it comes to trial. I had one and she outclassed my ex's attorney by a mile. Damn bro, when I thought my divorce was terrible frown. I can tell that you love your daughter whether or not she was biologically related to you. I commend that whole lot. Not many guys/dads I know would be as forgiving and loving as you are, as demonstrated by your action. Back to a problem at hand, seek professional help, a divorce attorney. The consultation is usually free. If finance was an issue, set up a GoFundMe account. People will help if you truly fight for your kid. I would. Best of luck my friend. Keep me updated, please. I just started a petition to protect both kids and parents during the divorce process. Please sign and share. Honestly, I would agree to take your name off the birth certificate if it means lower child support payments. Cut off contact now with the kid that's not yours. It will save you lots of money and headache in the future. Source: divorced dad who's been divorce raped. If she successfully has him removed as the father, and another man named as father, I would think, and hope, OP would have no responsibility for child support. If the mother still wants child support from OP, then that's a legal rationale for saying OP's name should remain on the birth certificate. There's no easy answer brother. If you want to stay in that child's life you have every right to. OP, I am not an expert or even a divorcee, but I really want you to know that here's another complete stranger vibing and praying for you to win it. I think it's gonna be ugly but not unwinnable. Your kid is old enough to speak for herself, and if you get a minimally competent attorney and a minimally decent judge, it should be clear that your ex is using an innocent child as a weapon to get to you. And by God, I hope you disarm her in court, and hopefully take her to the cleaners to boot. What game is my ex playing now? Rant. My M47 ex-wife F48 left me a year and a half ago for a guy who was married to her high school best friend. Some friend she turned out to be, right? We had been married 20 years and had what I thought were 2 children together. I recently found out that my 6-year daughter isn't mine. She's his. She knew this from day one of being pregnant and kept it from me, and it's my name on the birth certificate, and I do intend to fight for custody, as this has been my daughter and the certificate is a legally binding document. She might not be blood, but that is my daughter. Clearly this affair has been going on for some time. Finding out was a kick in the teeth. When I asked her if it's him or me, she said it's him. Why? Because he can get it right back up after sex and go again. That's the only reason. Sex. Forget the fact that I worked 2 jobs to put her through school and continued to do so she could stay home and raise our kids and cheat on me. I gave up pursuing my dreams and music career for her so that she could pursue hers and have a family. They have been the number one thing in my life. My ex has always been a cold woman. She's bipolar and life wasn't always easy. Her outbursts and physical and emotional abuse were soul-crushing, but I endured it because I thought she couldn't help it. Turns out that wasn't entirely true. She admitted to friends that she often punched me because she felt like it or wasn't getting her way. My kids had witnessed on several occasions her striking and verbally abusing me, and each time I took it without fighting back and hating my kids to witness this. At one point towards the end she was angry at me for not taking the trash out the moment I came home and grabbed me by the neck and started squeezing while my son stood horrified watching. I told her our son will always remember this. And she let me go. I should have left long ago. I know this now. I'd like to think that if not for my children, I would have. But I didn't want them to have a broken home and held on to the hope that someday my wife would go back to being the woman I fell in love with. I know now that those days are dead and gone and have been for years. After everything came to light, my wife sat down with her friend whose husband she was cheating with and told her point blank, "Yes, it's true. No, I'm not sorry," and then my wife got up and walked away. I was told this by her friend. My wife left, took the kids and moved in with him in an apartment behind the one we shared. Even then I held on to the hope that she would see the grass isn't greener with him. He had cheated on his own wife several times besides with my wife, and she knows this. I waited that entire first year waiting for her to come back. She kept the apartment keys and I assumed she was still holding on to them because she knew she would come home. But at the end of that year they began their cruelty again, with him constantly dropping by the bus stop as I was putting the kids on the bus for school and telling me, "I've come to see my daughter off to school." "Not your daughter, mine." I told him, "Then why were you so content for the past 5 years to let me raise her, her to have my last name, let me be there at her birth, and raise her as mine? Where were you? Why is my name on the certificate as her father instead of yours?" That almost turned me a punch to the face, and it did earn me to a drunken visit by the both of them at the end of the night because he showed up to fight. My ex then decided to make everything public, going on Facebook and bragging about her new boyfriend. Our friends were shocked and reached out to me and his wife about it. I made sure to grab all the screenshots I could. She doesn't seem to care about the hole she's dug for herself with our upcoming divorce. Then again, why should she? I already got her with the paternity test. At the end, I became self-destructive. I kept wondering what I could have done differently or better. She blamed me for not being around for her, but if I wasn't working 2 jobs, how could we've survived? I didn't clean when I got home because I was too tired, and she's screaming at me about trash when our kids have colored on all the walls, tore down blinds, put holes in the wall under her watch, but not taking out the trash after working 16 hours was the problem. The worst part was that I wanted my family back so badly, I believed it was my fault. It took a while to see the truth of it all. All that changed with my brother. He was determined to get me to play in his band, and even though I declined, he insisted that I meet the other members and decide then. That changed everything for me. I still declined. But I struck up a friendship with them and ended up casually dating a friend that the rhythm guitarist introduced me to. I quickly fell in love with this woman, 45, and it was a relief to be in a loving relationship with someone that wasn't a 24/7 screaming match that usually ended with me getting hit. Now throughout this time, as I've stated, my ex still had the keys to our apartment. She would occasionally let herself in and drop off stuff for the kids. The first time she let herself in and my new girlfriend was there did not go well. She called me that night asking me who she was and why was she in our apartment. I enjoyed telling my ex that my GF was none of her business. She moved on and left me and was living with someone else. The last few months my ex has become erratic over my new GF and has even begun to stalk her. My ex had sent my GF a Facebook friend request and demanded my GF to accept it. When my GF refused, my ex called me screaming that I need to tell her to accept it because she needs to see the kind of person my GF is, that I'm having our kids around. My GF grabbed the phone from me and told her that she does not need to add her as a friend. Anything involving communication about the kids can be done through Messenger or through phone calls. That my ex does not and will not have access to our private life, friends, and family because she is not part of my girlfriend's personal life. This didn't set well with my ex. My girlfriend showed me the sudden burst of friend requests she got from people that had my ex as a friend. My ex then started letting herself into my place every weekend and when I wasn't home at work to snoop around. I was on the phone with my girlfriend who was staying with me while I was at work to hear my ex walk in and my GF ask her if there was something she needed. My ex claimed she wanted to see how much milk I had in my fridge for when the kids came over. My GF told her we had it handled and my ex left. When I got home I demanded the apartment key since she's not living there. She then took my son's keys and made copies for herself. When my lease was up, my girlfriend asked me to move in with her so that we could distance ourselves from my ex. My ex did everything she could to hinder this, calling the police and telling them I was leaving with her belongings, and when asked what was hers, she couldn't name anything in my place that was left that was hers. Now we get the kids every other weekend and I was told by my children that they are not allowed to talk about what they did with me because she doesn't want to hear it. That didn't last long. Now she pumps my kids for all the information she can get. I'm sure it's jealousy. We live on the beach. My GF is very well off and when we get the kids we take a short walk to the boardwalk to ride rides, let them play on the beach, or visit the aquarium. If they return home with prizes my ex throws them away. Now the issue with my ex was the last few times she dropped off my kids, I noticed she now dresses and looks very similar to my GF. She dyed her hair and cut it to match her. Whatever we do with the kids, my ex runs out the following week and tries to do the same thing with them. If we got to the beach, she takes them to the beach. If we go to the zoo, she takes them to the zoo. If she finds out what we had with them for dinner she has to make the same thing and demands our kids to tell her who they liked more. Last week my son asked to live with us because he said my ex was crazy. You better believe I'm using all this in court. Just when I didn't think things could get any crazier with her, the other night she starts texting me nudes. What the hell? My GF was sitting next to me when they started coming in and I immediately got defensive and told my GF I didn't ask for them and that my ex and I aren't talking like that. I offered her my phone to go through to see for myself. My GF looked at the pictures and asked for my ex's number so she could text my ex her own nudes back so that she could show her how it's done. I called my ex and asked her what the hell she was doing. I told her that my GF was sitting next to me and saw the messages and was pissed. My ex tried saying she meant to send them to someone else. My GF said to her that my name was on one end of the alphabet while her boyfriend was on the other. Then she asked who the new guy was since it was meant for someone else. My ex hung up. I really don't know what game my ex is playing. This is all just crazy to me. Let me clear up a few things, because the comments keep coming back as if I'm still living there. My GF did not send her nudes in return. That was just her verbal response to what my ex had done, saying that she should show her how it's done because the pictures were of my ex with her shirt off making duck faces at a mirror with her phone in her hand. My girlfriend simply made a joke in regards to my ex's lack of imagination. I do not live in my old apartment that I shared with my wife anymore. I have moved in with my girlfriend because despite me taking the keys back from my ex, she took my son's keys and used those to keep breaking in. She does not have access to my new place and my kids don't even have keys for this reason. I'm currently fighting for custody of my kids and it's not easy with me not being the biological father of my daughter. But I'm fighting based on the birth certificate having me listed as the father, which gives me parental rights to my daughter. My ex was prescribed meds, but I'm having serious doubts if she's taken them. I check my kids for bruises and make sure they are not being abused. But she made the mistake of getting physical with her boyfriend and he punched a hole in the wall and let her know if she raises a fist on him again, he's fighting back. From what you've described here, your ex is a few French fries short of a happy meal. Quite honestly, she sounds dangerous. You should talk to your attorney and see if there is any kind of restraining order you can take out on her. Yes, yes, and yes. Also, download a co-parenting app to use with her to discuss the children, and then block her number and her profile on all social media sites. You don't want to mess with crazy, just walk away from it. This deserves more upvotes. If I was in your position I would do this, pointing finger, pointing finger, pointing finger. It sounds like that you have a keeper in your new woman and respect to her for staying strong and staying with you. Good luck and stay strong. Your ex is stunned beyond belief that you were able not just to move on, but to move on with someone who is better than her. She probably thought that you'd be on the hook for life, so that she always had a backup plan in case her relationship with AP goes south. Good on you for not letting her on your life. Also, if I may, I'd suggest getting a co-parenting app for communication, and only do communication through that application. Then block her and AP on all socials. Good luck my friend, you have this. Listen up to you/Oxizer-san, they hit it on the head. Do not, under any circumstances, allow your GF to send her nudes to this person. It may have been a funny idea at the moment, but your ex would definitely post them everywhere she had the chance to and use it to harm your chances at custody in some way. Your best bet is to end all contact with your ex except via a parenting app. She is malicious and you need to limit your exposure to that. That was just my girlfriend's response to that. My GF chose to be humorous about it instead of flying off the handle, which shocked the shit out of me. I was expecting her to accuse me of trying to get my ex back, but she handled it with a joke. You are living this drama because you communicate with her, do not unless it's kid related. Let me clear up a few things. My GF did not send her nudes in return. That was just her verbal response to what my ex had done, saying that she should show her how it's done because the pictures were of my ex with her shirt off making duck faces at a mirror with her phone in her hand. My girlfriend simply made a joke in regards to my ex's lack of imagination. I do not live in my old apartment that I shared with my wife anymore. I have moved in with my girlfriend because despite me taking the keys back from my ex, she took my son's keys and used those to keep breaking in. She does not have access to my new place and my kids don't even have keys for this reason. I'm currently fighting for custody of my kids and it's not easy with me not being the biological father of my daughter. But I'm fighting based on the birth certificate having me listed as the father, which gives me parental rights to my daughter. My ex was prescribed meds, but I'm having serious doubts if she's taken them. I check my kids for bruises and make sure they are not being abused. But she made the mistake of getting physical with her boyfriend and he punched a hole in the wall and let her know if she raises a fist on him again, he's fighting back. Put that on the post top. Not many people will see it in the comments. Done. Not the father update. Rant. Not my first post here, but wanted to vent about something that has me baffled. So through a paternity test, my daughter is not my daughter but the child of my ex-friend who is now residing with my ex. This past weekend was my daughter's official 6-year-old birthday. It was not my weekend to get the kids, and as a shock, my ex asked me if I wanted the kids for my daughter's birthday. Of course I took them. I was even granted an extra 2 days. I figure they had some plans and were pawning the kids on me so they could go do whatever. But the thing that strikes me is that this is the first time that he can celebrate his daughter's birthday, and instead of doing something special as her father, she's given it to me and my girlfriend. Anyone else think this a tad FD up? He's a disgusting degenerate who had a child with another man's partner. Don't make the mistake of expecting him to suddenly start acting like a responsible adult after he's already gotten away with acting like scum for so long. You know what, this stuck in point right here. With another man's partner. His friend's partner, let's add to the list. That poor girl will be subjected to lousy parenting by most of the adults in her life. Document this disinterest if you decide to revisit custody. This. Document. Keep a log of the time she is with you. Not just the days, or hours. Start time and end time each day. You may never need it, but if you do need it one day you'll be super glad that you kept records. My ex left my daughter with me significantly more time than our parenting plan specified to go see her boyfriend in another state. Later on she took me to court to get permission to move to another state to be closer to her BF. When the judge took a look at my log of how much time I had been spending with my daughter over and above the court order, he increased my parenting time permanently, and reduced my child's support. I didn't even ask for that. Really glad I kept track. X was furious. Or the judge should have ordered the mom to pay child support instead of you. In Tennessee, where I lived at the time, child support was calculated by a formula that took into account the income of both parents, as well as the amount of parenting time that was court-ordered. Thus, when I was given more court-ordered parenting time, the judge also reduced my child support, so I didn't have to hire a lawyer and go to court to address it. You may be the only father she knows. Agreed. You're a hell of a parent. She is lucky to call you dad, even if the circumstances that brought her into the world were ducked. I personally expect extraordinarily shitty people to do ducked up things. I'm rarely disappointed, and when I am, it's a pleasant surprise. Saves me from being frustrated when they do, in fact, do ducked up things. Remember to document everything. You'll never know when it may come time to save the kid from their ducked up parents. Your ex is acting like a child. Could you imagine if you weren't in your daughter's life and what sort of quality of life she would have? Neither of her bio parents sound like they really want to be parents. As she continues to age, continue being the stable and reliable parent she needs. Let them live a child's life as an adult as you and your daughter continue to mature and grow. It's a pond scum move on his part, but then again, those two have zero moral compass. My heart goes out to you, brother. Paternity fraud is evil. Yep, it is indeed evil. But it is even more evil to demand that the cheated on man accepts this like nothing at all has happened. What if he wants to have his own biological child/children someday? Part of the evil, my man. All of it is so sick and twisted. Heart breaks for op. You are indeed so right. Interesting, are you still considered her legal father and do you pay child support? Also, if you haven't already, consider using a co-parenting app with the ex so that incidents like this can be logged. You may want to revisit custody as the child ages if this sort of behavior continues. I'm glad to hear that you are in another relationship. Any plans for marriage or children? I am. It is my name on the birth certificate. Which alone is another crap thing my ex did. She knew I wasn't the father and had me believing I was. A birth certificate is just as binding as adoption papers, so I am still considered her father and currently fighting for custody. As for the new relationship, marriage could be a future possibility. She is definitely more grounded and set in her morals than my ex and has made my children her top priority. My kids love and bonded with her, and my son has taken to opening up to her more than me or my ex. I was a little upset about it at first, but I get it. She's not a parent and can provide a response to him that is more focused on him and not making him feel like he's in a parental tug-of-war. I'm glad he has that. As for us having children, she's unable to have any. Thank you for your reply. Glad to hear you are your daughter's legal father. It appears that she will need you, and possibly your GF, as a stable force in her life, since the ex and AP, biological dad, don't seem to be candidates for Parents of the Year. Also, she is your son's sibling, so that bond is equally as important. Concentrate on making you your GF and children the family/core unit. They both need you as the reliable parent/stable force. I wish you all the best. I'm assuming you share custody with the ex? Are you looking for increased custody? Sounds like you found a great partner, and the fact that you're fighting for custody of a child that isn't biologically yours is amazing. Appears he has not bonded well with your daughter and may not want to. At some point your daughter should know who the real father is. Also concerned that your ex-daughter's mom is not doing more to engage the father with his daughter. In the meantime, you are the stand-up dad to your daughter, and she probably looks at you as such. Is the court aware of true paternity? Hope she had a great birthday party. She absolutely did. As I read your comments, I really hope you do win full-time custody to give those kids the best start in life possible. Happy to hear she had a great birthday. Being 6 is such a great and fun time for a kid. Good luck, man. Speaking as someone who was adopted, she deserves to know when the time is right. When I found out at about 7 or 8, I still chose to keep my mom and dad as mom and dad, still doing 30 years on. They will always be mom and dad, but not having it hidden from me and it being my choice saved me a lot of pain. I couldn't imagine finding something like that out as an adult, thinking I knew who I was and suddenly being thrust into an identity crisis. So I read through your post history. Don't even bother trying to figure out the why, just document everything and keep being there for your children. I really hope in the end you get them away from her and him. Have you asked your lawyer to request her to be mentally evaluated and drug tested? This can be done and done randomly so that she can't have time to clean/line her story up right. Also, with your children being old enough, you can ask for a mental evaluation on them in regards to their living situations. These therapists have the knowledge to get the info they need. Only downside is that you may have to pay for some of this, but I say it's worth it. I have asked for my ex to be given a drug panel test and asked for the kids to have therapy, as there's a lot going on there that I'm not making public. But I am fighting for my kids. I get that and understand, but don't ask. You get it pushed through court so she doesn't have a choice. Also, asking her to do these kinds of things gives her a heads up. Stop that. Let me say, I have great respect and admiration for you. You are making the best of a terrible situation and protecting an innocent child from her own parents. You understand more about being a father than her AP ever could. Just keep doing what you're doing and we'll keep our fingers crossed that the courts look at things your way. A word of warning. If your STBXW gets desperate that she will lose her kids, she may spill the beans to the court that you aren't the biological father. It may be in your best interests to see if she will agree to you having the kids. I doubt her AP does anyway. She demanded another paternity test and to have my name stricken off the birth certificate in her divorce filing. Which is fine. It actually is. Because that birth certificate is just as binding as adoption papers, and for 6 years, I was the father. She's still asking for joint custody of both kids, so this is going to be interesting. I'm not the father, Doesn't want me to be the father, but wants us to have joint custody of both children? I will update as things come to pass on how this all goes. Your ex wants to remove you as the father of your daughter, but she is asking for joint custody? Is she expecting you to pay child support for a child that is living with her mother and real father? Explain this to me like I am 6 years old, because this does not make sense. That doesn't make sense. She will be laughed right out of court. Side note, your 12-year-old son may be old enough to have a say in which home he prefers to live in. Not in this state. But I am told that the judge will pull him aside to talk to him privately and ask him questions from me, his mother, and the judge him/herself, and will take in consideration what my son would like or what the judge decides best. I'm doing all I can to make sure I've got all my ends covered. Yes, that is what I meant by that statement. He is old enough to have his feelings about the situation heard. Narcissists gonna narcissist bro. Assume every interaction with her and/or him is going to be focused on them and them only. And you'll never be surprised. Just run your race. Wait, does the girl know? She's only 6, what does she call you? What does she call him? Where does all of that stand? And here's where it gets nasty. My daughter does not. At the moment she thinks she has 2 daddies. Me and him. She calls us daddy, his name, and daddy, my name, my 12-year-old son on the other hand. She decided he needed to know. Why? I don't know. I really don't know why she dumped that on him, and I don't think she thought that through, because her telling him has put a rift between them. My son hates her. My son and him clash greatly, as my son sees him as the reason all our lives got destroyed. As I was saying in another comment, my son doesn't really talk to either of us about his feelings. His mother has let it be known that she doesn't give a damn, as he reported the AP threatening to hit him, and she told him, so what do you want me to do about it? And he's afraid of telling me because I'm angry about everything involving my ex and the AP. But my son talks and seeks the advice of my girlfriend. With all due respect, I think what might be FD up is you saying yes to this. I'm not trying to be heartless, but if the DNA proves the daughter isn't yours by genetics, your obligations to be babysitter for your ex's fun time just ended. Return the daughter with her things and state firmly, this is not my responsibility anymore. Go hire a babysitter. I believed she was my daughter until my ex told me she was leaving me for my friend and informed me that my daughter might be his. So for 5 years of this child's life I was her father. My daughter just turned 6. So for all this time I was her father. I raised her. I cut the cord. I took care of her. My name is on the birth certificate, which legally binds her to me as her father. I was there. Not him. You don't turn your back on your kids. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.